And Raw obviously has some of my favorites. They have most of my favorites, in Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Cesaro, Sheamus, all that. But when you watch Raw, it is like a completely different feel than SmackDown. And I don't know if they're purposely trying to make SmackDown like the A show again, like they did in like the beginning of the Ruthless Aggression era. But it definitely feels as if SmackDown is really being focused on more and giving to the fans more than Raw. And to get on the Raw topic of why it sucks, there's many reasons: the writing, the booking. Obviously Roman Reigns, getting the U.S. title and most likely will probably win the Universal titles January 29th at the Rumble. I just think like just the feel of it, like no one's interested in anything. They don't give us any like feuds or like any like any build towards anything. And like Jericho's list is more popular than the actual Universal title itself. Like the Universal title, like right off the get go, was just an ugly design. None of the fans liked it. I hated when they started booing the belt and like when Finn Balor and Seth Rollins are fighting for it, and and it's just that was disrespectful. But that belt is truly ugly, and they make Roman Reigns in the U.S. title feel more prestigious than the Universal title. And I don't know if they're doing this, if Vince has, some idea of doing this because he wants to put it on Reigns. And like, oh, Reigns will make it more prestigious, blah, blah, blah. You know how much Vince loves Reigns. Um, but like, and then you look at the 3 hour show, they have so much more time. They have the cruiserweights, and they've completely failed to utilize the cruiserweights on Raw. And then SmackDown has 2 hours, and they just completely fill those 2 hours, and you're just like, oh wow, like SmackDown's like about to end, like But then you're watching Raw, you're like, oh man, dude, this is not even the end of the first hour. Like this is gonna drag on. The past few weeks haven't been too bad. I've loved the Enzo and Cass promos and segments. Those have been hilarious, and Cesaro and Sheamus winning the tag titles, that was great. But like it's just a different feel, and SmackDown kind of has more of like that indie feel. Like Raw just kind of has just like that basic, like just they're just throwing it together just because it's Raw, and you're like, oh, you'll watch it just because we have like the top guys. Like, oh, well, obviously, wrestling fans are gonna tune in every week because the top guys are on Raw. But like you look at SmackDown, and like I said, it has more of like an indie feel, and it's more of like it more pertains to the fans than Raw, because Raw just kind of just gives you the product and it's like, all right, the show's over. And like the pay-per-view couple weeks ago or whatever, like the ending of it, they had just Reigns and Rollins just like stand, fist to fist, like, yay, we like power bombed Owens and Jericho through tables and shit. And it's just like, dude, that just feels like the ending of just a show. Like that did not feel like a pay-per-view. As like this past Tuesday on SmackDown, that felt like a pay-per-view. But this past Monday on Raw, that felt like TNA. And I tweeted that, but call it what you want. It's not hating. It's just like, do something with it. You have all the star power in the world, and you're just focusing on Roman Reigns. You have Owens, who is probably one of the most talented, and he's the Universal Champion, and you're not really utilizing him as much as you should be. Him and Jericho are probably the best thing going on Raw. And